So these laws may have originally been decreed by God, but it appears that he has since left the chat to evolve according to them and does not now intervene in it. But how did he choose the initial state or configuration of the universe? What were the boundary conditions at the beginning of time? So this is another thing in physics that we see a lot. We want to see what the boundary conditions are. Where do things kind of break down? Where do things like what's the edge of the problem, if you will? And in this case, we of course have an edge. It's the beginning of time. It is when the universe got started with the Big Bang. So indeed, that if there is an edge, that's what it is, and we would want to sort of understand the conditions of that edge. So one possible answer is to say that God chose the initial configuration of the universe for reasons that we cannot hope to understand. This would certainly have been within the power of an omnipotent being, but if he had started it off in such an incomprehensible way, why did he choose to let it evolve according to laws that we could understand? So we could say that the laws of physics, we're able to comprehend, we're able to study it, we can understand it. But how come we can understand these things but not the beginning of the universe, or the very, very beginning, or just before the beginning, if there was a before, right? That's sort of our question. And actually, this is sort of a topic that is debated between atheists and religious folks. I've actually been to a debate between Lawrence Krauss, Dr. Lawrence Krauss, and someone else. I forget the someone else, but they were basically debating about the existence of God. Now, I don't want to get into this debate right now here, but it does exist. These debates do happen, especially between cosmologists and religious people, because cosmologists are talking about the beginning of the universe, the early universe, and whether, what role is there in it of just, nature and the universe doing its thing according to laws that we understand, and what role is there of a higher being. So this is the sort of thing that can come up if you ever were to go to that type of debate or topic. This class session is deep. I know. Tell me about it. This would certainly have been within the power of an omnipotent being, but if he had started it off in such an incomprehensible way, why did he choose to let it evolve according to laws that we could understand? The whole history of science has been the gradual realization that events do not happen in an arbitrary manner, but that they reflect a certain underlying order, which may or may not be divinely inspired. It would be only natural to suppose that this order should apply not only to the laws, but also to the conditions at the boundary of space-time that specify the initial state of the universe. Because it could also be the case that we are just dumb and don't understand the initial state of the universe all that well yet, and simply are in the process of doing that research. So that could also be the case. And I'm not saying dumb in a bad way. Maybe we haven't learned everything there is to learn to understand the beginning of the universe. Hello, Batman. Hello, Faze. Hello, everybody. Kubi kotin bishoy amar matha ghurche bapre. I'm in love. Hello. Somebody is here is writing in Bengali, which I can read quite well. So thank you so much for the Bengali comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it would be only natural to suppose that this order should apply not only to the laws, but also to the conditions at the boundary of the space-time, which is the beginning of time. There may be a large number of models of the universe with different initial conditions that all obey the laws. There ought to be some principle that picks out one initial state and hence one model to represent our universe. One such possibility is what are called chaotic boundary conditions. So are you ready for the chaos? Chaotic boundary conditions. These implicitly assume either that the universe is spatially infinite or that there are infinitely many universes. Under chaotic boundary conditions, the probability of finding any particular region of space in any given configurations just after the Big Bang is the same, in some sense, as the probability of finding it in any other configuration. The initial state of the universe is chosen purely randomly. This would mean that the early universe would have probably been very chaotic and irregular, because there are many more chaotic and disordered configurations for the universe than there are smooth